The moment my daughter-in-law threw that suitcase into the lake, I knew my life was about to collapse. My name is Evelyn May Carter. I'm 32 years old, and for the longest time, I believed betrayal came with warning signs, a shift in tone, a strange glance, something you could prepare your heart for. But nothing, absolutely nothing prepared me for that cold Saturday morning when I watched Carissa shove my past into the water as if it meant nothing. The wind was sharp. The lake shimmered with early sunlight. And there she was, standing at the edge like a woman possessed, gripping the handle of a suitcase that looked painfully familiar. She didn't see me at first. She didn't hear my footsteps crunching against the gravel. She didn't sense that someone was watching her sins unfold. She lifted the suitcase with both hands, her face twisted with something between panic and anger, and threw it into the lake. The splash echoed like a slap to my chest. I took a single step forward, my breath catching when I recognized a bright floral pattern peeking out from the crack of the suitcase as it bobbed back up. It looked like a piece of fabric, but no, I knew exactly what it was. It was the lining of the memory box I kept under my bed, the one holding the last letters my late husband ever wrote me, the one with our old photographs, our vows, our private notes, the pieces of a life only he and I shared. The box I thought was still safe, hidden away from the world. I felt my throat tighten as I watched Carissa shove the floating suitcase under the water with her foot, forcing it to sink. Her breath came out shaky. Her hands were trembling. Her eyes darted around as if she expected someone to appear. That's when she saw me. Her body jolted, her face drained of color. My heart fractured into a hard, burning ache. I didn't say a word. I just stared at her, at this woman my son married, this woman I had embraced as family, this woman who had just drowned the last physical memories I had of the man I loved. She opened her mouth to speak. I turned away. Because I didn't trust myself to hear her excuses. Not yet. Not when rage was rising inside me like a storm I couldn't control. But before I take you deeper into the truth of what happened, make sure you subscribe for more real stories that reveal the lessons life teaches us the hard way. Carissa wasn't always like this. In the beginning, she was charming, almost painfully perfect. Nathan brought her home after college with this shy pride on his face, the same look he used to have when showing me drawings he made in kindergarten. "This is Carissa," he said, and she stepped forward with a warm smile that could convince a stranger she had a gentle soul. She hugged me. She complimented the smell of my cooking. She touched the photo of my late husband on the wall and teared up. "I hope I get to love someone like that one day," she whispered. I welcomed her instantly. Nathan, sweet, soft-spoken Nathan, fell hard. I saw it in the way he looked at her as if she were an anchor in a storm he'd been fighting alone since his father passed. And I wanted to believe she loved him the same way. Maybe that's why I ignored the little red flags. The way she clung too closely. The way she reacted if Nathan spent time with me. The way her smile stiffened whenever I mentioned my husband. But I dismissed it. Trauma, I told myself. She grew up without stability. She just needs time to feel safe. I wish I'd trusted my instincts instead. When they moved into the guest house on my property to save money, I was happy. The house felt less empty, less haunted. Nathan visited daily. Carissa baked for me. She brought flowers. She laughed and called me mom. But slowly, something shifted. She became territorial over Nathan, quietly, subtly. If I asked him to help me with something, her smile froze. If I hugged him, she looked away. If I brought them groceries, she sighed like it offended her. One night through the open kitchen window, I heard her voice sharpen like broken glass. "You choose her over me every time." "She's my mother," Nathan said softly. "Exactly, and she acts like you belong to her." His answer broke my heart. "No one owns me. Please don't do this." But she always did, and he always backed down. It was a slow poisoning, drop by drop, until the atmosphere felt heavy every time she walked into the room. The box she threw into the lake wasn't just sentimental, it was sacred. After my husband died, that box was all I had left of him that felt alive. His handwriting, his little jokes scribbled on sticky notes, the first scarf he ever bought me, the letter he wrote the night before our wedding, a small lock of his hair from the hospital when he passed. It wasn't just memories. It was the last piece of my heart. One day, months before the lake incident, Carissa asked casually, "What's in that wooden box under your bed?" I shrugged. "Old keepsakes." She smiled, but her eyes lingered too long. That should have been my warning. A week before everything crashed, I went to look for my memory box, and it was gone. I tore my bedroom apart, checked every drawer, checked the attic, checked the basement. Nothing. I asked Nathan. He looked confused. Carissa insisted she hadn't seen it and even helped me search. But her eyes were wrong. Too calm, too bright, too satisfied. I didn't confront her yet, not without proof. I wish I had. When I turned away after catching her, Carissa ran toward me, her footsteps desperate. "Evelyn, wait!" I kept walking. She grabbed my arm. Her grip was trembling, frantic. I can explain." I turned slowly, my voice cold enough to freeze the air. "What did you throw into the lake?" She hesitated. Her breathing hitched. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me." Her eyes filled with tears, not soft ones, but sharp, manipulative ones I'd seen her use on Nathan when she wanted to win a fight. I had to do it. For Nathan. My stomach twisted. "What do you mean, for Nathan?" She stepped closer. "I found something in your memory box, something about your husband, something Nathan deserves to know." My heart slammed against my ribs. "What are you talking about?" She swallowed. "He wasn't the man you think he was." Everything inside me froze. "What did you find, Carissa?" Her tears slipped down her cheeks. She looked broken, but her voice carried a chilling confidence. "Your secret. The truth about who Nathan's real father is." My knees nearly buckled. "What?" Carissa leaned in, whispering like a villain revealing the final twist. "And I have proof." I stared at her, my pulse pounding in my ears. "What proof?" She took a shaky breath. "The letter you wrote." I blinked. "What letter?" "The one where you confessed everything." A shock went through my entire body. I never wrote any confession letter. Carissa's lips slowly curled. "I know. That's what makes this fun." For a moment, I couldn't speak. The ground felt like it was tilting beneath me. "What did you put in that suitcase?" I whispered. Her eyes darkened. A twisted calm washed over her face. "Your confession." "My what?" She smiled. Quiet, cold, triumphant. The one I wrote for you. Everything inside me shattered. A forged confession. My memories destroyed. My husband's letters drowned. My son's wife standing there staring at me like she already won. And the nightmare was only beginning. I stood at the lake's edge, the cold wind whipping against my face, trying to make sense of the nightmare unfolding around me. Carissa, my daughter-in-law, the woman I had fed, sheltered, encouraged, and trusted, had just admitted to forging a letter confessing something I had never done. My voice trembled. Why would you write a fake confession about Nathan's father? Carissa took a shaky breath, her chest rising and falling like she was battling her own heartbeat. Because you've controlled him long enough. Something deep inside me snapped. Controlled him? I repeated. Carissa, I barely ask him for anything. You don't have to ask. Her voice cut through mine like a blade. You just exist, and that's enough to keep him tied to you. I stared at her, stunned. This wasn't jealousy. This was obsession. A carefully nurtured paranoia she'd allowed to grow until it swallowed her. Carissa, I said slowly, Nathan is an adult, and he loves you. You've always been his priority. She shook her head violently. You don't see it. You don't see how he looks at you, how soft he becomes around you, how he tries to protect you like you're some fragile porcelain doll left behind by your dead husband. That word, dead, slammed into my chest. She said it like it was an inconvenience. I felt my nails dig into my palms. This is not about Nathan, I said through clenched teeth. This is about something inside you that feels threatened by a mother's love. Her eyes flashed. You think you're so perfect. I never said you think everyone loves you because you're kind, because you're gentle. But what about the lies you hide? What about the things you never told Nathan? I frowned. What lies? Carissa exhaled slowly, her breath fogging the air. You should have burned that letter instead of keeping it. A chill crawled up my spine. What letter? She met my eyes with a strange triumph. The one from your husband. The one where he hints Nathan wasn't his. My breath caught. Sharp. Painful. There was no such letter. Her jaw tightened. You're lying. I'm not lying, Carissa. My husband adored Nathan. There was never any question. Oh, there was. She stepped closer, and I found the proof. I didn't know it back then, but months earlier, Carissa had already started unraveling. It began on an ordinary Wednesday. I had stopped by the guest house to drop off some dinner because Nathan was working late. I knocked, and when she didn't answer, I pushed the door open gently. Carissa sat on the couch crying into her hands. Carissa, I rushed to her side. Sweetheart, what's wrong? She lifted her face slowly, eyes swollen, cheeks red. It's just everything. My childhood, my dad, my job. I feel like I don't deserve Nathan. I hugged her. Everyone deserves love. She cried harder. You're too kind to me. You're the mother I never had. Back then, those words warmed my heart. Now, they chilled me. Because I remembered something I had ignored. Carissa looked at me that day with a possessiveness I mistook for vulnerability. And that softness I offered her was the very thing she now used as a weapon. "You never ask why he left," Carissa said suddenly. My heart stilled. "Who left?" She smiled softly, dangerously. "The man your husband was texting before the accident." A knot formed in my chest. My husband wasn't texting any man. But under her smile, I saw something too deliberate, too practiced. "You don't know what I know," she whispered. I inhaled sharply, trying to piece together her delusion. She wasn't just throwing accusations, she believed them. "Carissa," I said carefully, "none of this is real. You created a story in your head because you were afraid Nathan would love me more than you." "No," she snapped. "I created nothing. I simply uncovered what you've been hiding since Nathan was born." Her voice trembled with conviction, and that made it worse. I stepped back. "I'm going home." "You can't run from this," she shouted. "I'm not running. I'm giving myself space before I say something I regret." She grabbed my arm again, but this time her grip wasn't panicked. It was firm, possessive, threatening. "You tell Nathan any version of today except the truth," she whispered, "and I swear, Evelyn, I will destroy you." My heartbeat slammed in my ears. I pulled my arm away slowly, keeping my voice level. "And what is the truth, Carissa?" She lifted her chin. "That you hid Nathan's real father from him? That you lied about your marriage? That you and your husband didn't have the perfect life you pretend to? I never said we were perfect, but we were honest, something you clearly don't understand." Her eyes hardened, turning cold and flat. It was like staring at a stranger. "Go home," she muttered. "But don't forget, I have your confession." "You forged it." "It doesn't matter." Her smile curled. "People will believe whatever makes the biggest explosion." I walked away from the lake, my legs weak, my heart pounding. The wind felt colder now, sharper, like tiny needles pressing into my skin. She forged a confession. She threw my memories into the lake. She wants to rewrite the truth of my life. The closer I got to my house, the more the weight of it all crashed down on me. My breath turned shallow, my vision blurred. I had never felt so violated, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Inside my living room, I sank onto the couch, clutching the throw pillow like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. My husband's voice echoed in my mind, warm, gentle, steady. "You're stronger than you think." But right now, I didn't feel strong. I felt cracked open, shaken, small. And the worst part? I didn't know how to tell Nathan. What would I even say? "Your wife destroyed the last memories of your father? She forged a confession letter about your paternity. She and her husband didn't have the perfect life you pretend to?" Nathan adored Carissa. He loved her deeply and loved fiercely. Would he believe me? Would he think I was jealous? Would she manipulate him first? My head spun. I needed time. I needed clarity. I needed proof. Around 6 p.m., I heard the gravel crunch under tires. Nathan's car. My breath caught. I didn't know if Carissa had rushed home before me to twist the story. My stomach knotted. The front door opened quietly. "Mom?" I forced myself to stand. My voice came out shaky. "Hey, sweetheart." He frowned immediately. Are you okay? You look pale." I swallowed hard. "I'm fine, just tired." He stepped closer, concern deepening in his eyes. "Mom, talk to me." Before I could decide what to say, his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. His expression changed. Confusion, then concern, then a flicker of something sharper. "It's Carissa," he murmured. My blood froze. "What did she say?" He hesitated, then read aloud. "She said she found your letter." My breath vanished. "What?" Nathan kept reading. "She wrote, 'Your mom has something to tell you. She's been hiding the truth about your father. I'm sorry you have to find out this way.'" My legs nearly gave out. "She's lying," I breathed. "Nathan, I never—" "I know," he said quickly, grabbing my hands. "I know you wouldn't hide something like that." For a moment, I felt hope, a fragile relief. But then his phone buzzed again. Nathan looked at it. His face drained. "What?" I whispered. He slowly turned the screen to me. It was a photo of a letter written in my handwriting. A letter I never wrote. A letter Carissa had forged. A letter she had taken a picture of before throwing the original into the lake. My pulse hammered wildly. My knees shook. "Nathan," I breathed. "I did not write that." He closed his eyes, breathing hard. He whispered, "I believe you." But his hands, they were trembling. And behind that trembling was doubt. Carissa had planted a seed, a dangerous one. Nathan looked torn, conflicted, scared. And for the first time, I realized Carissa didn't just want to hurt me. She wanted to turn my son against me. And she had already started. Nathan stood in my living room holding his phone like it weighed 1,000 pounds. The forged letter glowed on the screen. My handwriting, my signature, my words. Except none of it was mine. The sight of it felt like a punch. "I don't understand," Nathan whispered, his voice cracking. "Why would Carissa send me this? Why today?" "Because she planned this. Because she's been planning this. Because she doesn't want you to love me." But I swallowed those thoughts. I needed to stay calm, rational. If I let panic take over, Carissa's lies would win. "Nathan," I said gently, "you know your father. You know me. Would I ever keep something like this from you?" His eyes softened. "No, I know you wouldn't." But behind that reassurance, I saw fear crawl into his expression. Fear that maybe, just maybe, Carissa wasn't lying. The doubt pierced me. I stepped closer. I never wrote that letter. I never even... Suddenly, Nathan's phone buzzed again. Another message from Carissa. His jaw tightened before he even read it. He already knew whatever came next wouldn't be good. He clicked it open. This time, it wasn't a message. It was a voice note. Carissa's voice filled the room. "Nathan, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to be the one to say this, but your mom, she told me everything months ago. She made me promise not to tell you, but I can't lie anymore. You deserve to know the truth about your father." My blood turned to ice. "Nathan," I stepped forward, shaking my head. "She's lying. That conversation never happened. I never—" He pressed the phone to his forehead, eyes closed, breathing too hard. Carissa had thought everything through. She knew exactly what buttons to press. She knew Nathan's weakness. He needed answers. He needed clarity. He needed peace of mind. And she was using that against him. "Nathan," I said, gripping his hands. "Look at me. Do you believe I would confide in your wife about something this serious and not tell you?" He blinked rapidly. His hands trembled in mine. I don't know what to believe right now." The words hit harder than any slap. For the first time since he was a little boy, I saw Nathan look at me like a stranger, like maybe I wasn't who he thought I was. I felt something crack in my chest. I need to talk to her," he said suddenly. "No," I whispered. He pulled back slightly. "Mom, don't go to her right now. She's not stable. She'll twist everything. Please, Nathan, just think." But Carissa had already done the damage. He was caught, torn between the woman who raised him and the woman he married. "I need to hear her side," he said softly. "I promise, I'm not choosing her over you. I need to know what's real." My heart sunk. When he walked out of my house, something inside me followed him out the door. The silence that followed was crushing. The room felt emptier. The air felt heavier. I tried to breathe, but each inhale shook. I sat on the couch, fingers gripping the edge of the cushion, my throat tight. Carissa had destroyed the last pieces of my husband. She had forged a confession. She had broken into my private things. She had manipulated my son. And now, she had planted doubt in his heart. My tears finally spilled. Not quiet tears, deep, aching sobs that clawed their way out of my chest. I cried for my husband. I cried for Nathan. I cried for myself. And I cried for the life I never thought would fall apart like this. After what felt like an eternity, I wiped my face. I needed to think. I needed strength. I needed clarity. Carissa was smart. Not emotionally stable, but smart enough to strategize. If she forged one letter, she could forge more. If she sent one voice note, she could send another. If she could twist memories, she could twist people. This wasn't jealousy anymore. This was warfare, and I couldn't fight a war alone. There was a moment months ago that should have warned me. Nathan and I were baking together, just a simple activity, something we'd done since he was 10. Carissa walked in, and her face tightened immediately. Nathan laughed at something I said, flour dusting his hair. Carissa stared at him with a look of resentment. And then she glanced at me as if I'd stolen something from her. Later that night, I overheard her say, "You never smile like that with me." Nathan had answered softly, "It's different. She's my mom." Carissa snapped back, "You act like she's your entire world." And Nathan, oh sweet Nathan, tried to reassure her. But she never wanted reassurance. She wanted dominance. She wanted his heart to have space for only her. And that desire is what started everything. Hours later, when evening fell over the house, my phone rang. Nathan. I swallowed hard and answered quickly. "Nathan?" His voice was monotone, tired, shaken. "Mom, I talked to her." I held my breath. "And?" "She said you're lying." "Of course she did. She said you gave her the letter months ago. She said you asked her to keep it secret until you were ready to tell me." My stomach churned. "Nathan, that never happened." He exhaled shakily. "I want to believe you. I swear I do, but why would she lie about something like this? Because she's obsessed. Because she's jealous. Because she wants to isolate you like she isolates everyone else. But I didn't say that. Not yet. Instead, I asked, "And what about the suitcase? Did she tell you what she threw into the lake?" He hesitated. She said she threw out old clothes you told her to get rid of. I closed my eyes painfully. Do you believe that? Another long silence. Then he whispered, I don't know what to believe. My tears returned, quiet, heavy. Nathan, please come home. Let's talk face to face. I can't, he whispered. She's not okay. She's crying and shaking. She said you threatened her, that you grabbed her arm. My jaw dropped. I grabbed her? Nathan, she grabbed me. She held on to me. I pulled away. She said you hurt her. I felt like I was falling. And she said, his voice cracked, she's afraid of you. A hollow ache opened in my chest. Afraid. Of me? Carissa wasn't just lying. She was painting me as dangerous, manipulative, abusive. She wasn't tearing me down. She was erasing me. Nathan, I whispered, listen to me carefully. She is turning you against me. This is exactly what she wants. I know, he said softly, but I need time. Time. Time for lies to grow. Time for her influence to deepen. Time for doubt to rot his trust. But I didn't fight him. Fighting would only push him further. I love you, I whispered. I love you too, Mom. He hung up. I stood there, the phone still pressed to my ear, my hand shaking. For the first time since he was born, my son didn't feel like mine. I wiped my tears and made a decision. If Carissa forged that letter, she did it somewhere, on something, in some notebook, on some device. She wasn't clever enough to cover every track. And she lived on my property. So I walked outside toward the guest house, slowly, quietly, my heart pounding. Halfway there, a noise stopped me. A soft metallic click. The sound of a door unlocking. I froze behind the garden fence. Carissa stepped out of the guest house. Her eyes were puffy, her hair messy, but her smirk? Sharp. Satisfied. Cruel. She was holding something in her hand. A folder. A thick, bulging folder. She looked around to make sure she was alone, and then slid the folder under her arm and walked toward her car. The lake was one thing, but this, hiding documents, meant she had more. More lies. More forgeries. More poison ready to inject into my son's heart. And as I watched her from behind the shadows, Carissa spoke to herself in a whisper I wasn't meant to hear. It's almost done. He'll never look at her the same way again. My breath caught. My world spun. My nails dug into the fence. Carissa got into her car, started the engine, and drove away. And that's when it hit me. Carissa wasn't just manipulating Nathan. She was building a case against me. A case she planned to make permanent. Carissa had more documents, more forged evidence, more poison ready to inject into my son's heart. More lies she planned to reveal, and she was taking them somewhere I needed to find, before everything I loved was destroyed. Carissa's car taillights disappeared down the long driveway, leaving the air colder and heavier than before. She wasn't just hiding something, she was moving something. The folder, tucked under her arm like a secret she planned to weaponize. I stayed behind the fence until the growl of her engine faded into silence. Then I exhaled shakily, my breath trembling out of my body. She had forged a letter. She had created fake evidence against me. And now she was taking it somewhere to strengthen her lies. For the first time since that morning by the lake, my fear turned into something else. Determination. I refused to lose my son without a fight. When I reached the guest house, my hand shook as I touched the doorknob. Carissa and Nathan never locked it when they were home, and thankfully, Nathan must have forgotten in his rush. I stepped inside. The air smelled like Carissa's perfume, sweet, lavender, but cloying in a way that made my stomach twist now. Her notebooks were scattered across the table. Her laptop was open. Her purse lay on the floor. If she was planning to destroy me, she would have left breadcrumbs. Manipulators always do. I moved slowly, scanning the room. Her handwriting appeared on loose sheets, sharp, slanted, practiced. Beside it, crumpled drafts of letters, sentences crossed out, rewritten, reshaped. Not just the letter. Multiple versions. My stomach dropped. How long has she been plotting this? I picked up one page. It read, "Nathan deserves the truth. I'm sorry I lied to you all these years." Another said, "I couldn't carry the guilt anymore." Another, "Your father wasn't the man you think he was." All in my handwriting style. All practiced. All forged. My breath left my body in a painful rush. She wasn't paranoid. She wasn't insecure. She wasn't emotional. She was calculated, deliberate, dangerous. And she wanted absolute control over Nathan, even at the cost of destroying the bond he had with his mother. I searched further. Inside the side drawer, beneath the pile of scarves, I found a folded paper, older looking, with smudged ink. I opened it. It was a printout of a text conversation between my husband and an unknown number. The messages suggested he had been meeting someone privately, talking about our son, talking about regrets, talking about secrets. Except my husband never texted like this. He hated formal punctuation. He never said regards. He never spelled okay as okay. It was all wrong. And then I saw the date. 3 months after he died. My chest tightened. She didn't just forge letters, she forged text messages. She fabricated an entire false narrative to make me look like I'd lied to my own son. A hot wave of anger rippled through my body. She was destroying a dead man's memory. And for what? To isolate Nathan? To own him? To rewrite his entire history? I froze. Gravel crunching outside. At first, my heart seized. Carissa returning. But the headlights illuminating the window weren't hers. Nathan's car. I exhaled shakily. He stepped out quickly and rushed inside. "Mom?" he called. "I'm here," I replied, stepping out from the kitchen area. Nathan walked forward, stopping when he saw the papers spread across the table. His face went pale. What is all this?" I swallowed. "Nathan, I need you to look carefully at everything." He approached slowly, eyes scanning the forged letters, the fake text messages, the handwriting sheets. His breath grew shallow. "No," he whispered. "No, She wouldn't. She did, I said gently. She's been crafting this for months. She wanted you to think your father wasn't really your father. She wanted to break us apart. Nathan closed his eyes, a tear sliding down his cheek. And I believed her, he said in a broken whisper. I believed her over you. I touched his arm softly. You were manipulated. That doesn't make you a bad son. He opened his eyes. They were red, filled with confusion and shame. Why? Why would she do this to us? I didn't want to say it, but the truth was clear now. She's afraid, I whispered. Afraid you love her. Afraid you'd choose me. Afraid of being abandoned. People like her, they destroy the things they fear losing. Nathan sat down heavily, burying his face in his hands. She lied to me, he whispered, over and over, and I didn't see it. I trusted your wife, I said softly. That's not a weakness. It means you have a good heart. He looked up at me, older, exhausted, shaken. Where is she now? I hesitated. She left with a folder, more documents. I don't know where she was going. Nathan stood up suddenly. I need to talk to her. I need answers. Nathan, but he was already heading toward the door. We found Carissa 20 minutes away, in the parking lot of a small law office. Nathan slammed the car door and marched toward her before I could stop him. Carissa. She spun abruptly, her face streaked with mascara, the folder clutched to her chest. Nathan! Oh, thank God. She rushed toward him, but Nathan held up a hand. No. Don't touch me. Not until you tell me the truth. Her smile faltered. What truth? The forged letters, Nathan said, holding up his phone. The drafts, the fake text messages, the handwriting sheets. Carissa blinked, then blinked again. Then she laughed. A cold, hollow laugh. You broke into my house? She said, eyes snapping toward me. That's illegal. Breaking into my own guest house isn't illegal, I replied. Carissa's face twisted. You just can't stand that Nathan and I are close. Close? Nathan barked. You tried to turn me against my own mother. No, Carissa cried. I was trying to protect you. Protect me from what? Nathan shouted. From lies you created? Her breathing grew fast and frantic. Then she screamed. She gets everything, your attention, your softness, your loyalty. I'm your wife. I'm supposed to be first, not her. I spoke softly. Nathan has room in his heart for both of us. That's how healthy families work. She glared at me with an expression so full of hatred it startled me. You stole him. You stole his heart before I ever had a chance. Nathan shook his head. No, Carissa, you never lost me. You pushed me away with lies. Carissa clutched the folder tighter and sobbed. You don't understand. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to be alone again. Nathan's voice softened. You need help, not someone to hurt. Carissa looked up, desperate, pleading. Nathan, please don't leave me. Please, I'll fix it. I'll destroy everything. Just don't leave. Nathan exhaled a long, pained breath. I'm not leaving because I want to hurt you, he said gently. I'm leaving because I need time and you need help. Carissa dropped to her knees, sobbing violently. He took the folder from her hands, walked toward the car, and didn't look back. And for the first time, she didn't follow. Driving home, Nathan stared out the window, silent. His shoulders shook with grief. "You okay?" I asked. He swallowed. "No, but I think this was inevitable." I touched his arm softly. "You're not alone." He nodded. "I know." When we got home, he placed the forged letters, drafts, and fake documents into a box. "I'm going to get therapy," he said quietly. "I need to understand why I didn't see it, why I allowed it." I smiled softly. "That's growth, Nathan. That's strength." "And you? How are you going to heal?" I thought about the lake, the sinking suitcase, the drowned memories. "I'm going to grieve," I whispered. "And then I'm going to rebuild." He hugged me tightly, the way he did when he was 5 and terrified of thunderstorms. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered. "I forgive you." And I meant it. Weeks passed. Carissa moved out. Nathan focused on therapy, and I began writing everything down. Every memory of my husband, every story, every laugh, every moment I could preserve. Because she took the physical pieces, but she couldn't touch the truth. Healing wasn't pretty, but it was possible. And slowly, peace returned. Not the peace of a perfect life, but the peace of a life rebuilt with honesty and boundaries. Betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people you invited into your heart. Have you ever experienced betrayal like this? Share your story in the comments.